Good morning, my friends. You are on Mav's Coffee Clarity with Denise DiGrigoli. If you've just found me, welcome. And if you're a regular, welcome back. This is where I have fascinating coffee conversations from knowns to unknowns, athletes, authors, creative, business people, people with a growth mindset. We help you move forward in work, love, and life. And who doesn't need that? Okay, today is no shortness of excitement. I'm bringing to you a spectacular person from right here, Fairfield County, Adair Heitmann, multipreneur. Am I saying that right? Multipreneur. Be careful because she's a master in communication, an author, a storyteller, has taught in some of the finest universities in the United States, a global communication, I'm going to say savant and guru.
Thank you.
She's got an artist. Incredible jewelry. I'm going to tell you to visit us not only on the pod, but on my website and YouTube and see her hookup. See it, my friends. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you.
We're so glad to have you here. You know, first of all, I've had the privilege of knowing you from when we practically moved here to Fairfield. And then, of course, our businesses went in different directions and our travels and whatnot. And it was so nice to reconnect with you by accident.
Absolutely.
Chance meeting. But then I don't believe in chance meetings. It's like serendipity. Yeah. And when I started to look at all the things, I knew you were an artist. I knew you were very prolific at what you did. But when I saw all the things that you did, and then we had a short talk on some of your silver linings, I said, you need to come on the pod. So without further ado, my friends, I want you to hear all about Adair Heitmann. Okay.
Thank you. Go. Well,
what makes you you?
Oh, man. I mean, what makes me me is I lived in like 5 different places before I was 6 years old. And so I think it's like that just gave me this love of adventure and always doing different things. And I also get bored really, really easily. And so the way my mind works and my creativity works, it's like I always want to be having something going. And so for me, when I went to art school, that was like the saving grace for me when I applied to college to go to art school, but I didn't get in because in high school,
that's a super spill the bean.
Right, like right out of the gate, because I was in a public high school in a large city, and the guidance counselor said you can't take art classes until you have all your college pre-prep classes.
Isn't that a shame?
Her. My parents didn't know any different, any better. And so I didn't take my first art class until I was a junior in high school. And that's when you're supposed to be applying for art school. You're supposed to already have a portfolio already.
Right.
And so I started going to the Art Students League in New York. I would go to the train and I would walk from Grand Central to the Art Students League. Anyway, I got into a really good university, one of the top 3 universities in the country for art. It was a big university. But I got in under an academic scholarship, not for the art school.
Well, did you feel bad about that?
Well, I did, because I really wanted to be an artist and I really wanted to go to art school, but I decided, since I'm in and I have a scholarship, let me at least start there.
Oh, gosh, it sounds like my trajectory.
You know?
Start in business, but you're like, this is sort of craving to be artist.
Yeah. But then I don't think I had unpacked my suitcase yet, and I contacted whoever was in charge and said, I have more artwork now to show you than I had when I applied.
Can you let me in?
Exactly. And I was always a half a semester behind, but I then got into the art school. And everything really that I've used on my jobs, I learned in art school. And even though my jobs weren't artist jobs all the time, but I learned.
So yeah, like spill the beans there. So you learned these things in art school that helped you in we'll call mainstream work. Like what was it?
Learning new techniques.
Growth mindset.
Yeah. How to take a huge project that was going to last the entire semester and chunk it down into manageable pieces. Time management, project management, even learning different sculpture techniques, different painting techniques, different printmaking techniques. I became facile in learning new things. There was a class, art and technology, and I thought, technology has nothing to do with art. I can't take this class at all. I was such a purist. But I think because I had already had that twist in school, I was all over social media when it came out, and I was like a social media manager for companies that hired me that hadn't even started on Facebook yet or didn't have a blog, and I'd already been doing it for my art and my writing. I'm kind of jumping ahead.
No, you're not. Everyone's following you. They've had a lot of coffee too.
Yeah,
we're right with you.
And this is good coffee. But it's like in college, it was that focus on learning new techniques, being open to new ideas, being accountable for what you did.
I want to dial it back for 1 second. So often we take art and cursive, some very important things out of our repertoire way too early. And it provides the mind with beyond motor skills, cognitive skills, intuitive. And project management, that's just the offshoot of it.
Exactly.
Right? It becomes part of your charisma and your confidence. I'm all about the arts, as you know.
And even observation.
Yeah.
How to look at something. And also, then this is key, how to receive criticism.
It was really hard.
Positive feedback.
When we had our art gallery for a number of years.
That's right.
It was so hard to give because I'm an artist, but with a business background now, to give credible feedback, because it's true. Like even when I do stand-up comedy or even when I do this, when people give me criticism about the opening, I'm like, it's a natural reaction, But like the real artist will see it from like Einstein. We've got to keep trying, right?
Exactly.
Like, where are we putting it in? And we can also choose to not put it in.
Yeah.
That's the beauty. Now, just tell the audience before we jam on, what kind of art is your specialty? I'm not into the writing piece yet.
Yeah. Currently, I'm doing printmaking. I'm doing monoprint, something called clay monoprints.
Really cool.
Currently. But I've been a painter. I've been a watercolor artist. I've been a photographer. I got a Connecticut grant for photosensitizing fabric and combining drawing, painting, and photography on one surface. But again, I like complete something, and then, okay, I'm done with that. It's like I want to do something else. I want to create in a different way. So currently it is clay monoprints.
It's like you are the uber curiosity.
Absolutely, yes.
And it
hasn't killed the cat yet.
No, you know what? There's so much more research on where just staying curious can take you as a person, right? Stress relief, depression relief, never mind accelerating in your career. Okay, so now you get into art school. Oh, yeah, no, you had to.
Disclaimer,
she has her finger up, my friends.
My fabulous necklace, I did not make. An artist, I got it at a Kentucky Contemporary Art Museum. And it's fabulous. And I don't know who made it. But full disclaimer, it's a fabulous necklace.
It is a fabulous necklace. And, well, devising your own unique style in the world of creativity is okay. But then what I find is like when you're creative like that on the outside world, how do you get people to embrace you and take you serious?
Right.
Those have been some of my hurdles because I dress a little crazy. I definitely am a little loud and people make these kind of weird assumptions. So now you're coming out of art school. I'm sure there's assumptions from your parents, society. Now where are you going?
Well, I got a job at a print shop, a local print shop. And so I, on the job, learned how to cut and paste and set type and create letterhead and magazines and
She's
brochures.
going way back, my friends.
Way back.
Listen, this
I
is
have a
nothing.
fabulous legacy.
But this is good stuff for people to know.
Absolutely.
I mean, this was how our papers were printed years ago.
Absolutely. And part of it was what I learned in art school. I had applicable skills.
Big
so
time.
that I went right from being a fine art major to working in a print shop. And then years later, I was with an entrepreneurial company that really is what put desktop publishing on the map. I mean, so it's like,
so it all built.
Amazing.
It all built. It all kept building.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, sad story is when I graduated from college, I got a Bachelor of Fine Arts, cum laude,
fancy
pants, scholarship, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Which I'm very, very grateful for. But sadly, my parents said, you have to go to secretarial school and learn how to type.
And you were like, someone poured green acid on you.
Absolutely. My bubble was so popped. And I failed that class in typing. I took a summer class in typing and made sure I failed it. So even though I've had jobs as a writer, I am a writer, I have had jobs in which I had to be typing, I proudly failed that typing.
Well,
class.
you let them know in so many uncertain words.
By that. So I think think my parents didn't. I was a woman, and that was I was wanting to have careers outside of the secretarial pool, and that was new for them to consider. And I also didn't want to be typing.
Listen, I understand, and I love my parents to death, but my dad was like, what do you mean you want to go to college? Like, you're going to marry Joe Blow down the street, the plumber that's your best friend since... No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, thank goodness college was always on the table growing up.
Oh,
I mean, my parents really, really believed in that.
But they wanted to tell you.
Right.
What exactly you would be learning in college.
Right.
Well, interesting. So Ava went on to study legal studies, and we're artists, and we're like, in our minds, like, why would you want to do that? You know, but you kind of have to... Today's parenting, and I know you're a parent as well, right? You have to let them fly and figure it out.
You have
I mean, that's the most boring career in the world. Oh, I'm sorry to my lawyer friends. I love you, but no. Anyways, so now you fail secretarial.
Well.
You're doing, and this is a good, we failed forward, my friends.
Exactly. But I kept on getting jobs in printing companies. I got a job for a company. It was a national company that designed baby books and photo albums and stationery. And so I was designing cute little froggies and bunnies and that kind of thing. And I was a designer for them and worked for an amazing boss. What I learned, and I'm hoping there are bosses out there that are going to like heed my words here, is that I was so fortunate to have bosses, Denise, that would teach me on the job what it was I was supposed to be doing. So I didn't necessarily come in already having had a job that I was hired for, but I came in with the skills, with the portfolio, with the mindset, with the questioning, with whatever my professional attitude was in the interview, and they hired me, and all they had to do was tell me once, this is how you do this, and then I was off and running.
In our businesses, we feel the same way. When we see attitude, we'll train for altitude.
I love
right?
it. I love it.
Train for altitude. We've got the right attitude. And one of the benchmarks I kind of say loosely is, if I can trust you with my debit card and you have the right attitude, you're halfway in the door.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And that's hard to find.
Yeah.
I mean, we can make fun of it, but let's face it,
Yep.
that is hard to find. And, so, I don't want to make global statements, but so often people come right out of college and say, well, I'm worth this and I'm going to do that. I recently had someone that I absolutely loved working with me who was a star-studded person, but they had never learned anything like even how to read a ruler. Can you imagine? Yeah. So now you're making the funny bunnies
but then I got bored with making the funny bunnies all the time.
Well, that's going to get boring.
And so there was a job for a major Fortune 100 corporation, and I thought I could do what they're doing. So I went from the cute little, bunnies and froggies to designing sales materials and interpersonal management skills materials to other Fortune 500 companies. So again, making brochures, making posters for the conference rooms on interpersonal management skills and all that kind of stuff. So I went from wearing my designer clothes to literally wearing the equivalent of the IBM blue suit.
Oh, but very boring, but okay.
Yeah.
Had meaning.
It had meaning. That was the uniform. I could be adaptable.
So what I'm hearing from you, and what I want our listeners listening into our Coffee Clutch is like, what made you so curious and sort of fluid and just keeping your eye open and being open-minded to go to the blue suit after the funny bunnies and the creativity and fighting to get that art degree?
Well, I had
Is
to
that
pay
like
the
in
rent.
a bottle?
I mean,
you
I
had
had
to
pay the rent. I mean, so I was a single woman, living by myself. I had to get a car. I had to, get an apartment.
So there's a lot of self-reliance here and self-respect.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
You were like, I'm going to do it no matter what.
Right. No matter what. No matter what.
So fast forward to today, you have. You were just storytelling somewhere. You have a piece in an award-winning book. So we're going to time warp over. Where and how did you make that transition? Because it's really fascinating to me that you've taught in universities. You are so highly regarded, and you're multifaceted. Where was the bridge?
So I think the bridge was with a fiasco.
You had a fiasco?
Yeah. I think, I mean, it's that was when the bridge blew up. Actually, I don't know. Actually, it wasn't
we
the
all
bridge.
have one of those.
It was like the bridge blow up. Yeah. So I was getting ready for a 50-year retrospective of my fine art. And a silent basement flood that I didn't know was coming up from under the basement of a house we just had moved into. Destroyed over 50 years of my fine artwork.
So you had your art in the basement. You're moving in.
We had just moved in.
And you put it all in the basement.
We put it in the basement. We put it on the floor. And in our previous house of 26 years, I'd had different studios over the years, but the last basement was fully dry. So I had stuff stored on the floor there for 26 years. And so when we moved into the new house, we just moved in. And so stuff was put on the floor because we hadn't yet set up, shelving and where my studio was going to be and all that kind of thing. And so that absolutely crushed me because my identity was as a fine artist. My livelihood was partially as a fine artist. Where I was going was as a fine artist. And it...
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we have another business, Troy Fine Art Services, that does restoration. Did you have it restored or did you throw it out?
I threw out so much because
it
was destroyed.
Oh, that's like a death.
Floating and decaying and becoming paper pulp. And I had life-size figure drawings and I had prints and I had paintings. What's amazing is
what is amazing?
That some of the artwork was misfiled. We found boxes in the attic marked basement.
Oh, and someone put them in the attic.
Exactly.
But you know what we'll say? No chance coincidence.
Exactly.
No chance coincidence.
Artwork that we knew, I'm lucky to live with fine artwork on my walls, mine and other people's. And so we knew, we want XYZ on the walls in the living room. So they got moved into the living room and on the floor in the living room. Those pieces were saved from the flood. But over 50 years of art, wasn't. But it was the pieces that I didn't think were good enough. I showed at a really Tony art show in a very, very expensive town in Fairfield County. And they wanted a particular type of work, and I'd won awards for it and got grants for it. And I was having sellout shows. But then I would want to be doing something different, and it would be too edgy for the Tony Art Gallery.
Right. They want to put us artists in a box, too.
The collectors, exactly.
Oh, gosh.
And so that work just kind of ended up in all sorts of different places. So by serendipity and the grace of whatever, I have some of those pieces that I never thought were good enough because the gallery owners didn't think they were good enough.
Terrible.
Right. So,
but there's a silver lining. I can feel it coming. What is it?
There are two silver linings. And one is I've always been a writer, and I've always written. And I've had jobs as a writer and as a communicator. And my guts were so pulled out of me by losing my artwork, I could not go back there.
Oh,
again.
Gosh, painful.
I couldn't go back there again.
So painful.
So the art of writing became more in the forefront for me.
So you pivoted, essentially.
I pivoted.
And you let go of you must have grieved, but you let go of it. I think that's the key to moving on in life. You're going to grieve. You're going to get PO'd. Yeah. You're going to get guts pulled out, but you're going to let it go. I think that's the secret.
I think that's the secret. And you do have to feel it. I mean, I think that it was 5 years ago, and I'm still dealing with pieces of the grief.
Okay.
That
it kind of comes back and
any loss.
Right.
I mean, it's like any loss that kind of thing happens. But a second silver lining is that literally in the moments of the discovery of the loss, I got this message that said to me I had to make a whole new series of a creative project out of this experience.
Wow.
And that's what I'm in the process of working on now.
So many of the clients I work with, and I'm so thrilled you said that, is you have to be quiet enough to hear your own message and then heed the message, because you'll have that voice that'll say, oh, no, just go back and do some more art or whatever, right? But you really listened. Was that hard?
No, it was so crystal clear.
It just whacked you in the head.
Yeah. But also, I mean, I've been a meditator for so many years.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, I started meditating when I was in college.
I'm just taking that venture.
Yeah, it has really helped form who I am behind the scenes.
Amazing.
Because it's not only a stress reliever and which it's amazing at, but as far as that, being present with self, being present with no matter what's happening, not being distracted by things that really aren't necessary, but it's that listening to that quiet voice. Because the quiet voice for me does come through meditation. So again, it's a skill and a practice that I've been doing for so many years, that when the quiet voice comes, I trust it.
So you've had experience too.
Yeah.
And I bet you've had experience in not trusting it.
Absolutely.
And you know the difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Fascinating.
And it's like the voice gets quieter and quieter, but more clear.
Oh yeah, I'm so with you there, right? You know, it's that little tiny whisper, and you're like, ooh, I better pay attention, because that real quiet whisper is a big tug. That's fascinating to me, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because I train or coach people on that. Like, there's different ways to get to that meditation. It can be through music, it can be through art, it can be through quietness, it can be through writing.
Through dance.
It could be through dance, but just doing that in somewhat of a regular pattern. Right? Okay, so now you're on to writing. And this is kind of like this part of your life where I reconnect back up with you, and I see that you're storytelling, which I love to do, and what the show is about. And I think it's so important in today's culture, real stories, not, flash by night, 2-minute tick. I mean, real stories and stories that inspire people, or really, put them on their heels and then inspire them. So now you are communicating, you're writing. What are we doing now?
So, under the umbrella of communication, I'm a poet in residence in schools. So I work with elementary school kids.
Wow.
In writing poetry, and it's coupled with visual arts. There's a visual art component that a visual artist teaches the kids for a week, and then I come in as the literary arts component and work with them for a week. It's amazing. And
is this a public school or a forward-thinking school?
Private. It's public. It's a program for public schools.
Cool.
Yeah. And
is it a company that puts them in the schools?
So I don't know if we can say things, or if you want to put it on your website later, or
you can
or
say
whatever.
it. Go ahead.
I work through Silvermine Art Outreach Partners. So Silvermine Art Center has a Silvermine Art Outreach Partner.
I didn't know that about them. Cool.
Yeah. And we haven't even gotten into life hacks yet, but can I jump around?
Yeah, hack it up.
So it's like the importance of keeping your digital footprint so clean and so creative and so uniquely yourself. Because I've been, as an artist and a writer, I always had to sell myself, and I ran my own businesses. So I always had to sell myself, and I knew that you always have to advertise when you're busy. You don't wait till you're slow before you advertise.
Right.
And with Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and my website and my blog, et cetera, it's like I'm not applying for jobs online, but people that follow me. And I think it's more about the quality of your followers, not necessarily the number of your followers.
Sure.
Of your followers.
Absolutely.
Because my 2 most recent jobs came through people that had been following me on Instagram. And one I'd worked with in a volunteer capacity years ago, and she was an artist and I was an artist, and we lived in the same hometown for a while, and our kids went to the same history camp for a while. But I was never selling to what she was looking for because I didn't know what she was looking for. But then when she needed a particular professional with a particular skill set, she connected the dots based on what I'd been sharing.
Well, you're on Coffee Clarity for a reason because it's an authentic share.
Yeah.
There's this new thing in marketing. Well, there's always new terms in the omni-channel approach, but macro influence, meaning 1 to 10,000 followers, right? It's the quality and exactly what you're saying, sharing what is real about you. We learn that too in stand-up comedy or any performance art, right? People want to hear your voice. Right? When we talked about the moth earlier before you came on the show, like you're there to tell a story about you that connects. Okay, so now you're doing this. Fabulous.
And then I'm a guest lecturer in colleges and universities across the country. So Zoom is my best friend because I had a wonderful experience teaching at a university in Texas and through Zoom. And I was I won a series of national awards in communication, and that put me on the map differently with colleges and universities. And I went
Well, let's say the awards now. It's kind of jazzy. Jazz us up.
So I won a first place in the country for my website from the National Federation of Press Women. I won third place in the country for the story in the Animals book.
Let's show this.
Overcoming.
I'm going to put this on my website, but here it is, my friends. Do you see it on video?
It's
Animals: Personal Tales of Encounters with Spirit Animals by featuring Dr. Steve Farmer, and you're on page
133.
133.
There's about 30 different contributing authors that were selected to have their stories published in here, and that book has just won a Storytelling World Resource Award because of my story in it. And the Connecticut Press Club, I received a first place, second place, third place, honorable mention for the Overcoming Fear with Help from the Whale story, as well as stories that I've shared at Pachakacha, which is visual storytelling. I received awards for that. I'm asked by different churches and congregations to, I'm not a minister, but in the summer their ministers go on hiatus, and so they look for lay people to give a sermon.
Right.
And so I've been asked to be a speaker in the summer, and those sermons have won national awards.
Do you apply for awards, or do people find you and give you awards?
So that's another inspirational piece is apply to contests. Apply. You know, in your niches of your life and your work, you meet people or you see online or you get this newsletter and you see there are these contests out there. And it's just like as an artist applying to get into an art show, to an exhibition. You either get in or you don't get in. But apply for them because, no, the awards haven't, even the Connecticut Commission on the Arts grant that I got, I had to apply for it. They don't sadly just drop from the sky. Oh, here's an award, Adair. Here's an award.
I didn't know you have so many of them. If they were just finding you in a garden.
No. I wish. When I'm meditating in the garden, it's like, yes, they just dropped out.
What I'm also hearing from you is it's part of your repertoire of what you do for your marketing, for yourself, for your energy. But I also hear that you lose the attachment. In other words, if it doesn't happen, you're cool.
Yeah.
You're confident.
Oh my gosh.
And my friends on Coffee Clarity, I'm really telling you, the key to success is to visualize and then lose the attachment to the outcome and allow what's supposed to come in. And you're sort of like the pinnacle of that.
Thank you. It's very Buddhist, even though I'm not a Buddhist, but a lot of, I think, what I do and what I've learned, has that non-attachment quality. It's very freeing. Well,
it's very powerful.
Really freed me up, kind of really big. That was like a big freeing experience.
Well, when paper goes to pulp, that
was big. That was big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as we're kind of wrapping up a little bit here.
No,
I know.
Okay, so much fun.
We're going to give you a couple extra minutes just because you're too fabulous for the Coffee Clarity. So, you have had an incredible trajectory. Obviously, you're very good with the youth. You know what's going on from the time, you had to take a secretarial class to current AI and raising children in where we're raising them, which I would say is a little challenging at times.
It is.
What would you say to the, this is a three-parter, to the 20 to the 40s and the 40s to the 50s and the 50s and beyond? Like everybody in their life, right? Ava's graduating college. She's trying to figure out who she is, what she's doing. I've got friends that are, pretty heavy-duty career ladies having babies at 40. And those of us that are hitting other special decades are reinventing. So what's Adair Heitmann's magic spill the bean for people that are trying something new?
Just say yes.
That's a badass
Say
pitch
yes.
right there. Just say yes.
Say yes.
Couldn't be any simpler.
Even if you haven't done it before.
Yeah.
Even if it scares you.
Yes.
But don't do anything you shouldn't, to hurt yourself. But just
or illegal.
Say yes. And try it on for size. See if it works or not. And then decide.
And that's sort of like the epiphany and the pinnacle of who you are. Just say yes, in spite of paper going to pulp and various. Okay, where are we finding you?
Oh, Instagram, Artsy Writer Mom, and the handle keeps me very humble and very happy and very humorous. And so it's very, when I was setting my handle, I asked my beloved son what he thought, and he thought it was kind of boring. I was gonna be more, corporate. And he said, "How about Artsy Writer Mom?" I said, "Works for me."
Isn't that nice? How our children have contributed. Well, Ava's friends dom me Mav. Actually, it was Mom Savage, Maverick to Mav. I love having that piece of her in this, even though sometimes people interpret it as a little too lighthearted. Yeah. I say lighthearted is where we need to go.
Yes.
Okay.
And then AdairHeitmann.com.
AdairHeitmann.com.
And then my creativity and wellness blog. And you can follow me on LinkedIn. And
we're going to post this, my friends, and you are absolutely going to be able to stay in touch with Adair, and I hope that you'll come back and join us. But before we close, what's next on the list?
Oh, my gosh. I'll still be teaching at universities. I'll still be teaching elementary school. I will be giving, I've been hired, again, through Instagram. I've been hired to teach some workshops in crafting your own story at different arts venues and cultural venues. So I'll be teaching artists how to craft their own stories. And you'll be seeing me telling stories just all over the country.
Oh my gosh, Adair, thank you. Listen, my friends, you have been on Mav's Coffee Clarity, and we have gotten clarity today. Thank you for spilling your beans. Listen, my friends, you're just going to say yes. And if you want to learn more about my services, you're going to go to DeniseDiGrigoli.com. Follow me online and listen to us wherever you listen to your favorite pods. We love you. Peace out. Mav's got to get back to work.
Peace out. Me too.